We've all grown up hearing that the last ice age wrapped up around 12,800 years ago, and with that ending, the colossal beasts of the Pleistocene, mammoths, saber-toothed cats, giant sloths, vanished almost overnight. But is that actually what happened? What if I told you it's far more complicated? That some of these giants hung on for thousands more years, not only on remote islands but even on the mainland? Today, we're going to unpack the surprising and sometimes haunting evidence behind when Ice Age megafauna really went extinct. We'll dive into how climate shifts, early humans, and even a bit of bad luck may have pushed them over the edge. And spoiler alert, the story isn't as simple as extinction at 12,000. First, a bit on terminology. When people say Ice Age, they often picture towering glaciers and endless frost. But here's a twist. Technically, we're still in an ice age. The Quaternary Ice Age began about 2.6 million years ago. Within it, we had the Pleistocene epoch, until roughly 11,700 years ago, and now live in the Holocene. We just don't feel like an ice age world because we currently live in a warm interglacial period. One peak of the Quaternary was the last glacial maximum, about 26,500 to 19,000 years ago, when ice sheets blanketed up to a third of Earth's land. Back then, Earth hosted a rich cast of massive creatures, megafauna usually over 100 lb or 45 kilograms. Think woolly mammoths, mastodons, saber-toothed cats, even less famous ones like giant armadillos and kangaroos in the southern hemisphere. So when exactly did these giants vanish? The traditional extinction window is between 12,000 and 10,000 years ago, often linked to the Younger Dryas cold snap or the Pleistocene-Holocene transition around 11,700 years ago. And that timeline gave birth to two big explanations: the overkill hypothesis and the climate change hypothesis. Overkill, championed in the 1960s by Paul Martin, suggests that early humans, like the Clovis people in North America, arrived and rapidly hunted these large animals to extinction around 12,000 years ago. Kill sites with Clovis-fluted stone points piercing mammoth remains support this. The apparent synchronicity between human expansion and megafauna disappearance further fuels the case. But skeptics counter that there are surprisingly few kill sites relative to the number of extinct species. They also point out that sparse human populations may not have had the demographic muscle to wipe out animals spread across massive landscapes. On the other side, the climate change hypothesis zeroes in on the rapid warming at the end of the last glacial maximum. Glaciers melted, sea levels surged, ecosystems shifted. Tundra gave way to marshes, forests, grasslands. Cold specialist megafauna began losing habitat, forage quality declined, and predator-prey dynamics changed. Nowadays, the consensus is often a combination model. Climate stress pushed these species to a tipping point, and increased human pressure became the final straw. Even within that picture, there's nuance. Take mammoths. The iconic Mammuthus primigenius, woolly mammoth, roamed northern Europe, Asia, and North America. Most mainland populations seem to vanish between 14,000 and 10,000 years ago, based on radiocarbon dating from around the globe. But then there's the Wrangel Island twist. A tiny, isolated group of woolly mammoths survived until around 4,000 years ago, yes, nearly the time of ancient Egypt's Old Kingdom. That's thousands of years after mainland disappearance. And because no humans reached that island until centuries after their extinction there, hunting is ruled out as the cause. Instead, it may have been lack of fresh water, genetic decline, or other island-specific pressures. Also, woolly mammoths weren't alone. Their cousins, the Columbian mammoths, occupied more temperate North American zones from Canada to Costa Rica. DNA evidence shows interbreeding between these mammoth species before they both vanished, likely around the same time due to the same mix of climate and hunting pressures. Beyond mammoths, other Ice Age giants played out similarly varied extinction timelines. Mainland mammoths and mastodons mostly disappeared by around 10,000 years ago, but island survivors like those on Wrangel lagged millennia behind. That range variation suggests no single cutoff date applies globally. Journalists have summarized the broader extinction event as a highly selective, cross-continental phenomenon, shaped by both human activity and environmental upheaval. And climate scientists emphasize the collapse of the Mammoth steppe, a vast, cold, dry grassland, forcing the loss of habitat across Siberia, Alaska, and Yukon by around 12,000 years ago. Adding another layer, paleontologists now use techniques like ZooMS, collagen peptide fingerprinting, to extract taxonomic data from fragmentary bone or soil samples, helping reconstruct extinct populations even when bones are lacking. In summary, the story of Ice Age megafauna extinction isn't just all died 12,000 years ago. Instead, it's a mosaic of timelines and conditions. Some groups collapsed with warming and human arrival. Others lingered longer in refugia. Some islands held on to their last giants until 4,000 years ago. And beneath it all lies interplay between climate stress, human hunting, dwindling populations, and sometimes just bad luck.